decided not to go grab a drink yet. I will probably go grab a drink in like an hour or so, but I just want to get through as much of this as I can first. What's up next? Promo cards. This one should be fun. 194. Oh my god. Naruto, please. You are killing me right now. Man, looking at the looking at these two cards back to back, man, it is just crazy how much Naruto CCG changed over time. Really, really dig the new art style they went with, though. I think it looks really nice. Okay, we'll finish it up on the Kakashis. God, there are a lot of promo Kakashis. Okay, so no. Still don't like this view, so let's make this large icons. Also, since these are promos, I kind of want to read what some of them do. Battle between the Sannin. Sannin ninjas cannot receive any damage by your opponent's jutsu cards or by non-Sannin ninja. Used by non-Sannin ninja. Nice. Additionally, while the Sannin ninjas are battling against a team which include no Sannin ninjas, they cannot receive any damage due to the showdown. That's actually a pretty cool card. I really like that. I don't remember ever seeing it in a competitive deck, though. All jutsu cards and ninja effects that require chakra cannot be used or activated. Nice. Chidori. I wait until I talk about this card. Oh man, that is going to be so much fun. This card caused a lot of problems within the community though. You guys will see why. Clash. This was a really interesting idea for a card back in the day. So, this card doesn't actually do anything. Like, it has no effect, but it has an official effect that's put up on the Bandai CG website, and it changes every month. So every month, this card actually does a completely different thing, and I really thought that was an interesting idea. I can't I can't think of any place that would actually have the old effects, but I'd really like to see how this effect changed over time. Actually, if you go to the website nowadays, what actually happens? BandaiCG.com/clash. We'll check it out after this one. No? BandaiCG.com/clash. Okay, yeah, I wasn't expecting anything. So I'm not too disappointed. Deidara's Artist of Ruination. During your main phase, you can discard any number of your ninjas, then discard every other ninja with an interest cost less than or equal to the number of ninjas you discarded due to this effect. That is cool. Disaster. This was a really popular card for a long time, too. non-ninja card from your discard pile to your hands. If you moved a mission card, place a -1/-1 coin on target ninja. Remove card from the game afterwards. Cool. I found on the same forum page, but on page 2, that if you have until the end of the year of saving you have until the end of the year of saving these. I also just sent an email their way, and will say what about it on Discord later. Thank you, Mr. B. All of the help that you can give like that is really appreciated. Ugh, the card did not transfer over well. For the title of Hokage, at the beginning of each player's turn, the player selects one of their in-play ninjas. If the selected ninja's team wins a victory or an outstanding victory during this turn, that player wins one battle reward. Not really the most powerful card ever, but that's pretty interesting. Chinese Giant Snake. I don't know why Chinese Giant Snake is a promo card, but alright, I'll take it. Champion of the Heart. At the start of the showdown, remove this ninja and target opposing head ninja from the game. Ah, snap. That's a really cool ability. I don't remember seeing this card, but that is a really cool card. Ugh, horrible image. In all of the legends. When you put a Sani ninja into play, your opponent cannot play any mission cards, and their ninjas cannot use any jutsu cards during that turn and the next turn. God dang. Sani, man. Sani Ninja Lockdown is just, oof, it's too crazy. During your opponent's mission phase, you can select one of your opponent's ninjas. That selected ninja can only be sent out to battle as the head ninja during the turn. This Eno, and I'm really excited to talk about. This is the promo version of the Eno, but the original Eno is actually coming out in set 5, I think, so get ready for it. Eno Shikacho caused a lot of problems back in the day. Adorable Chibi Itachi. Anathema. While you have more cards and you're removed from the game area than in your deck, all jutsu cards used by this ninja are free. All of them. It's crazy. Jiraiya and the fourth. All of your opponent's chakra are considered to only have the lightning symbol and cannot have any other symbol. That's such a funny way to lock your opponent out of their entire deck. If you're fighting like a fire deck or something, then they are in quite a lot of trouble. That's no more trigram divination. That's no more Chidoris. That's no more. It's no more a lot of things. Okay. Ingenious tactic. During the mission phase, you can pay 2 chakra and select one of your ninjas. In that case, the next jutsu card, the select ninja. Blah, I can read, I promise. The next jutsu card the selected ninja uses during this turn is free. I mean, it would have to be a very, very useful jutsu card because you're already paying 2 chakra for the ability. Kakashi and Itachi. Illusionary World. Valid. Targets of jutsu cards must be selected at random. That is not a very competitive effect, but it is very funny. Oh my god, Kidomaru. Oh, my lovely Kidomaru. I'm not like a big Kidomaru fan or anything, but this card, man. This card is a legend. We'll talk about it when we get to it. Of course, there's gonna be like a million Narutos. Not much I can do there. Kakuzu. I'm actually curious about this just because it's a Kakuzu. Exchange a jutsu, pay 1. This ninja gets +1/+0 for each different symbol in your chakra area. Cool. Look at the top X cards of your deck and return them in any order. X equals the number of different symbols in your chakra area. This is actually a pretty decent card. Interesting. Kidomaru, here it is. Okay, so essentially, this guy, if he's sent out to battle, whether he's attacking or defending, you can flip a coin, and if it's heads, give 1 damage to one of your opponent's ninjas. That might not sound like a crazy effect from just seeing it here, but trust me, when you put it into practice, this card was absolutely bonkers. I think they had to errata it at one point, though I can't remember exactly what the errata was now. But it needed to be limited because it was just so good. More Chinese cards. It's not like I have anything against Chinese cards, it's just, it's so random. I think I'm gonna regret not grabbing a drink, but that's okay. I got there a couple of more sets and then I'll go get something. Maybe an energy drink or something to keep me awake. Holy crap. Was there a way to make the coin flip always heads? Why? Yes, there was. Funny you mention that. There would actually be a card released that would allow you to just make it always heads. Though, it is a very ineffective way to make it always heads because it was only one card that let you do it. But essentially, there was a card that you played, and you could move it to the chakra at any time during your turn to make all of your coin flips for the turn heads without actually having to flip a coin. And then on top of that, there were cards that let you re-flip a coin multiple times. So it wasn't necessarily something that like you had to do, but trust me when I say it went off more times than it should have. It was such a monster. So essentially, every time your turn and your opponent's turn ended, you could have a dead ninja on your opponent's side of the field because you could just get 1 to 2 extra damage every turn. When this ninja is deployed, you can select up to 5 cards from your discard pile. In that case, randomly place the selected cards on top of your deck. That's a really bad card, but okay. I guess it's cool artwork, though, because he's a samurai. When this ninja is deployed, you can attach 1 jutsu card from your hand to this ninja. During the exchange of jutsu, you can pay 2 chakra. In that case, add a copy of the attached jutsu to the chain with this ninja as the user. This is a really good card. I'm pretty sure now that I see it now that this actually was part of the metagame for a while, but this is really good for two reasons. One, you essentially don't have to get rid of the jutsu in order to use it. So if you attach the jutsu to this ninja, then you can get it every single turn until this ninja is discarded without having to have more copies. Secondly, obviously, um, it only costs 2 chakra, so you can pick something that costs like 5 chakra normally and just repeat it. And I know exactly what I would use this with actually. Hold on, I think we saved it already. Let's see if I can find it. Mm, crap, I guess. Oh, here it is. 5 prong seal. So this costs two of every. Sorry, it costs one of every single element of chakra. It targets one of your opponent's ninjas, and you return that card and all cards in your opponent's hands to the deck, and they shuffle. So if you put this on Naruto, not only does it only cost 2 chakra, but every single turn you can get rid of a ninja and also every card in your opponent's hand. It's a little bit busted. Just a little bit. Unique training. When this ninja is healed, place a +1/+1 coin on it. Discard a Naruto Uzumaki card from your hands to heal this ninja. Oh my god. Ah, and it's a turn 5. That is very, very beefy. Naruto and Killer Bee. When this ninja is put in play, place 1 growth coin on this ninja for every 2 battle rewards your opponent has. What a comeback. When this ninja is put in play, name a jutsu card. Jutsu cards with the selected name can be used by this ninja without paying its cost. This is another one that would go great with 5 prong seal. You could literally just make a 5 prong seal deck with these two. That's really cool. I really like that. I'll have to think about that in the future. Okay. Oh god, on page 2 we have even more Naruto. What the heck? Mm, Alright. Kind of want to stop at the Sasuke's because I know there's going to be a lot of those too. Why are some of these so tiny? They're going to be completely useless. So this card here is pretty legendary, not necessarily because it's a great card, even though it is legitimately a very good card, but so this was the very last card that was ever created for the Naruto card game. The absolute last one. And they actually released like a gold version of this card. And essentially, this card was supposed to represent the love that the actual creators of the card game had for the community for keeping the card game alive for so long. There were like 30 sets of the Naruto card game, which is pretty epic when you think about it, because it's just like an anime card game. So the card was called Never Ending Love, and Thank You was was the little subtitle thing chosen here because it was supposed to be like a little nod to the Naruto CCG community. I would love to get my hands on the gold version of this card just to have in my collection because I never got it, but I don't know if that'll ever happen nowadays. I think this is it actually, yeah. God dang. If I can ever find this somewhere to buy, I would love to have it. Actually, I'm gonna have to eBay that real quick. Let's put love here. Should be able to find it. Oh my god, what is all this Star Trek? Oh, what the heck? Oh my god. Something went very wrong here. Let's try this again. Hmm. I'm not seeing it. Okay, that's about what I expected. I didn't think it would actually be up here. But if I ever do find it one day, I do plan on buying it. Holy crap. The fifth is up to $63? This effect checks during this turn. When those ninja receive damage during this turn, discard them and your opponent's stop cards of their deck. Okay, that is a really good card, I guess, but still, that is a lot. There's a Facebook group I frequent that has people buying and selling all the time. It's called Naruto CCG Forum. Yeah, I'll have to check them out sometime or something. Popularity. While you have only one ninja with the highest cost among the ninjas you have in play, that ninja cannot be affected by your opponent's effects. That is a very wordy effect, but thank you. Have you ever just craved Reese's? Like, you absolutely need a Reese's peanut butter cup in your mouth, like, immediately? Because I'm having that right now, and it is a very strange feeling to have. What exactly are you doing? So, to sum it up, Trade Cards Online is shutting down soon, and I'm saving all of the cards from card games that I really like to make sure that they get preserved. That way, if another site like Trade Cards ever opens up, we have the card images, and if I ever want to do videos on these, then I'll have the images without having to go and find like really bad quality obscure images. Though these aren't a great example because a lot of these are really bad quality, but you know what I mean. Alright, now we can start with the Sasuke's. That's how I found your videos. People linked your Naruto vids in there. Nice. That's really cool. Tell them much appreciated. There are more Naruto videos coming. I just have to find some time. To explain, like, I know it's pretty bad that I always make up an excuse or whatever when I go a long time without making videos, but my excuse this time is that I'm studying for a test called the JLPT, which is the Japanese Language Proficiency Test. It's a test by the Japanese government to see how well foreigners are learning Japanese, and I am I don't want to say nervous for it per se, but I am taking the test very seriously, so I'm trying to put all of my free time into studying. And it's cutting out a lot of time I had to do other stuff. And on top of that, whenever I do have free time to play like games or do something leisurely, um, the League of Legends season is ending soon, so I've been grinding up League of Legends to try and rank up as high as I can before the next season. Since I've only got until the 12th to get to the next rank, I put a lot of free time into that. And my games have just been absolutely tilting lately. I feel like I could be doing a lot better than I could be, and I totally understand that. But at the same time, the community for League of Legends makes me want to kill myself every single time I play. I remember the last time that I played, um, at the beginning of the game, there was this duo. It was top and mid. They were a duo team, and they were harassing me the entire time I was playing because they were trying to tell me how to play, what items to build, so on and so forth. And then when I wasn't coming and ganking their lane every time they asked me, the top would start following me around in my jungle and stealing all of my jungle camps so that I couldn't level up. And then after they did that and I fell behind, they started taunting me about what a bad player I was because I was so far behind. I absolutely cannot express to you guys how much I hate people like that and how unfun the game becomes because of it. Successors: Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. When all the target ninjas are in the same team and wins an outstanding battle reward during this turn, you win the game. I remember this. I can't remember if anybody ever made a deck around this, but I do remember seeing this card. I think it was in a I think it was in like a special Walmart pack where you got like that and then 3 booster packs. Wait, trade cards online is shutting down. Why? We talked about that a little earlier. They got bought out by another website. There's a site called Card Market that ended up buying out their domain, and right now their plans are to just shut the sites down completely. So I'm just trying to save as much as I can. Luckily, we have until roughly the end of the year to do what we're going to do, so it's not like a huge deal, but I do want to get this done as early as possible. I don't want to do it at the last minute and have something unexpected happen. But yeah, Card Market is buying out the site, and they're planning on just shutting the site down after they've bought it, so that's the reason it's all happening. I would suggest web scraping. I'm really, really awful at computers. I know I don't seem like I'm completely computer illiterate, but I promise you I am. I am not. I have no idea how I would even go about saving all of the information from here without just doing it manually how I'm doing it now. All right, and that's it for the promos. What league rank are you? Oh, I'm a little embarrassed to say. I'm Silver 3. And feel free to make fun of me for that. I'm completely ready for your jokes. It is really, really uncool to be a silver player in this day and age. But in all fairness, I was a support main, and I just wasn't ranking up, so I decided to switch to something else completely, and now I'm a jungle main. Uh, I play Evelynn, Kayn, and Kindred. Though my Kindred is really bad, I kind of dropped Kindred as a champion. But I play a pretty mean Evelynn and a pretty mean Kayn, and I have over a 50% win rate on both, so I feel pretty good about myself. Curse of the Sand. This is an interesting set to look at because this is what I'm going to be covering next. I'm really excited to talk about this set because this was the first time that the Naruto CCG incorporated archetypes into the game. Well, still kind of sad, played most of my Buddyfight games on there and OG Vanguard. Yeah, me too, man. Me too. It is quite an unfortunate turn of events, but that's just how it is. I ran that in a Leaf Academy deck. I imagine you did. It was a win condition, man. It's really cool. Yeah, that's the reason why I don't want to rank up in League of Legends right now. I am unranked, but a silver player says that I am pretty good. Well, that's cool. You can move your Vanguard games to card fight area at least. Yeah, I could. Um, I could definitely do that, but the problem is I really like to trade cards online because we could have a variety in games that we play, and I could even look at new card games that I've never heard of before. Um, I don't really want to move to a dedicated place where we just play one card game because that's really boring to me. No, gosh darn it. I keep overshooting it and hitting the wrong one. Gosh darn it. Few, large. Thank you. I am also silver 3 on solo queue. I'm gold 5 in flex, so my Oriana skin is secured. We could maybe duo. Maybe. I really don't consider myself a very good player, but yeah, sure, man. If you ever want to add me, um, I'll put my name here in the chat. There you are. If you ever want to play with me, that is the screen name that you need to add. The problem with me in League of Legends is I feel like if I could just sit down and hammer it out, I could rank up pretty quickly, but I only really get time to play like maybe 2 to 3 games a day, and that's just even if I were winning every single one of my matches, it just wouldn't be enough to rank up. But right now, the way it works is I'll usually win 2 matches in a day and then lose 1 match. So it's really like only playing and winning 1 match a day, which is very, very slow. But, of course, like the opposite of that is if there's a day where I can win 3 matches, then it's like the progress of 3 days. And it's just really tough, man. It's just really tough. When I say play support, I play Lulu mostly, but have been all over. Right now, mid lane, but I love playing Kindred Jungle. I love Kindred Jungle too. I think Kindred Jungle is really fun, but I'm just so bad at it. I prefer melee champions when I'm in the jungle, especially assassins, because I specialize in playing assassins. When it comes to support, my favorite support is still Nami. Nami is so good if you know how to play her. And she has everything I'm looking for. She's got her bubble for a pretty decent stun. It's also a knock-up, so if you're playing with a Yasuo, he can get an ulti off of it. Her ultimate is a very, very big team fight changer. You drop it at the beginning of a team fight, and it's almost like having an engage without having to engage yourself. Because as soon as you hit the R button, your team is going to just retard rush your opponent's backline because they figure the fight has already started. And she has a heal, and I love champions with a heal in lane because opponents never really know how to deal with it. Though, if I ever have the chance, I like to play a more aggressive support. Like Brand, for example, and Nautilus. Brand and Nautilus are like my two go-tos when I feel like my team's going to do pretty well in a team fight. Although, because I'm such a big fan of Assassins, I am trying to learn Pike. But it's just so late in the season to be learning another champion, you know? I do really like him, though. I think Pike is a cool idea. The idea of like an assassin support is just really awesome. My one problem with Pike, though, is he just doesn't do any damage. Like, yeah, he is technically an assassin, but he's so hindered by the fact that he's a support because his numbers just aren't really that high. Like, you're never going to just hop into their back line and one shot a squishy, you know? You're going to kite the battlefield, you're going to throw out some Qs, and you're going to you're just gonna help. That's it. You're not there to deal all of the damage. You're just there to help and deal some of the damage. And then when everybody gets low, you drop your ulti, you sweep everybody under the rug, and that's it. Although, just between us, personally, I know it's not going to become a meta thing, but I think Camille support is pretty funny. So, if you know how to play it, Camille's support can do some really interesting things. You have a really great poke with your W, and your arcane comets deal quite a lot of damage. And then once you get lane priority, you can actually use your hookshot to go into your opponent's jungle to lay deep wards, and even challenge them at their blue or red if you're topside, and actually steal your opponent's camps. So I just think it's really cool. I know it's never going to become a meta thing, but if it ever does, man, I called it. Nami is S tier support. She's really good. Pyke mostly builds full tank now, CC bot and execute on ult. Interesting. I wouldn't have actually considered that. I'll have to look into it. See, the way I was building him was with Aftershock anyway, because you can pull it off so easily, but I was actually going Aftershock into a Duskblade. And then once I had Duskblade, I would build I'm trying to think, what would I build after that? I think it was like Duskblade Cleaver. And I don't think I ever really had much after that, and if I did, I would probably build Tanky after those, but full tank Pike sounds like it'd be pretty fun, but if the thing is, if I'm gonna build full tank Pike, I would probably just play somebody else, you know what I mean? Like, I would probably just play, like, Tom Kench. Saw a troll video of Camille and Trundle bot lane using Trundle Pillar for Camille. She's on ADC. That's amazing. I love that. That's so good. Actually, on the topic of supports, my best support, the one that I've had the most success with, but people troll me, people don't troll me, but people call me a troll for, is Talia support. Talia is so deadly as a support, man. She deals such an insane amount of poke, and she's got so much mobility that she can just kite around the opponents. But the problem is, of course, if you pick Talia support, your ADC just doesn't even try. They'll like level 2 tower dive, and then when they go 0 and 6 in lane, they'll tell the team that it was your fault they had such a bad score. And then your team will just sort of assume that it was your fault because you picked Talia, and Talia's not meta. My brother is mostly top with Shen trying to get him away from Riven. Riven is still my favorite champion in League. I don't think that'll ever change. My problem is she's just too mechanics intensive for me. Like, it's not like I could never learn her, but the time it would take for me to learn Riven just isn't worth it. Especially because I'm not that great in top lane. which is really sad because all of my favorite champions are in top lane, man. I love Fiora, I love Camille, I love Ornn. All of these champions are mostly played in the top lane, and I'm not that good at top lane. Support is my best role. Jungle has become my best role through practice. So, like, jungle and support are really like my two things. And then, oddly enough, I play a pretty good AD carry. I don't really know why, because I don't consider myself a very good AD carry, but I do have a pretty high win rate on, like, Xayah. So, like, ADC just goes really well for me. Of course, it could just be luck, because I don't really see what I'm doing so great when I'm in the ADC role, but I, whatever works, man, you know? Yes, Talia was my one trick before she became a jungler. Talia's support is pretty fun. I don't understand Talia jungle. Um, then again, I haven't really looked into it, but when Talia jungle came out, I figured it would just be like a sort of like an Ezreal jungle, you know, how it was a thing because of a very specific set of circumstances, and then once that specific set of circumstances died, so did the role. But I don't think it's going anywhere. And I just don't understand how she's doing so well in the jungle. It's just very, very strange to me. I mean, yeah, her ultimate's good for ganks, but I feel like her ultimate is way better for roaming than it is for ganking. And I don't see how she deals so much damage to jungle creeps, but then again, I'm only a lowly silver player, so it's not like I can sit here and pretend to know everything about the game, but it just seems very strange from an outside's perspective. I am looking at Talia for someone to main. It's funny. Uh, Talia was a very pocket pick for a while. Like, I remember back when everybody hated Talia. Nobody played Talia, and she wasn't banned for a long time. She wasn't picked, and if you picked her, your team accused you of trolling. But over this past few months, Talia's really picked up in popularity. I hope this means we'll finally start getting some new skins for her. Right now, I mean Zoe. Zoe's cool. Um, I mean, I don't really play mid lane, so I didn't play very much Zoe. I did try Zoe as a support, and that worked when she first came out because she had such high damage. But unfortunately, it just doesn't work anymore. Even if you pull off your full combo and get like a maximum range Q, it just doesn't deal any damage. Her sleepy time bubble is really good still, but she just doesn't deal enough damage to viably play her as support where you're not making any gold. Her Q has lots of AoE, so she can push and roam in mid lane. Wait, so she can't push in mid, and she can't push and roam in mid lane anymore. Q gain more single target damage, which destroys Gromp, Buff, and Scuttle, and Clear in 1 to 2 Qs. Okay. See, that does make a lot of sense, I guess. But then again, I've just never really gotten into like mage junglers because I wasn't that into Fiddlesticks jungle either. Even though I think Fiddlesticks is a really fun champion, especially support Fiddlesticks. Holy cow! Like in higher ranks, it probably wouldn't work, but Fiddlesticks support in low rank, where your your idiot opponents will run into each other when you put your stupid crow between them. It's hilarious. How on earth do you think doing that is a good idea? Don't run towards the person that you're with. when you get hit with that E. It's so simple. It bounces between you. Alright, and that is set 3 down. Now to get to the most legendary set in all of Naruto, Revenge and Rebirth. Oh my god, this set is so triggering for most people that played it, man. I cannot wait to talk about this set. There is so much to unpack here. Caged Bird, Chidori, Bro Kage. It's just so much. Oh, hidden capacity, high speed body, Inoichi, the sound 4, Kabuto covert operative. Telling you guys, it's so legendary. Okay, stop there. Yeah, but now I play Smite and Paladins, pretty much trying other games just to see what they have to offer. So here's my relationship with League of Legends. I actually don't even like League of Legends that much anymore. But I'm just so deeply invested in League of Legends at this point that I always get the urge to come back. It's sort of like an abusive spouse, you know? It's like I don't want to go home to it, and I know I could do better, and I know I'm wasting my life. And, every time I try to hop in and have a good time, I just get abused over and over and over again. But I just have such Stockholm syndrome that I'm like, maybe this time League of Legends will be nice to me. It's not that League of Legends hates me, it's just that League of Legends has a few too many drinks sometimes and just doesn't really know how to control its tempers, so I hop in and the community makes me hate myself, and instead of killing myself, I just sort of go to sleep, wake up, and hop online for some abuse the next morning. But if I just put down League of Legends, I could do so much more with my life. That would be an extra 3 to 4 hours a day that I could spend mastering Japanese, that I could spend playing this huge collection of Switch games I've paid for 50 games for the Nintendo Switch. And you know how many games I've actually beaten? Like 3. And if I just dedicated all of that time I playing League of Legends to just finishing up some of these games that I love or making YouTube videos, then I could actually have a happy, fun, successful life. But something about me makes me just want to keep coming back to League of Legends. Because I'm like, man, I know all of the champions of the game. I know everybody's abilities. I know how the game works. I've been here through all of the meta games. I've bought skins. I'm just so deeply invested in League of Legends that I cannot stay away from it. I just have to come home and get beaten every night. that's, that's pretty much it. What? I don't know what you're talking about, Chris. I don't know what you're whatting at. Actually, speaking of Japanese, I suppose I could put something Japanesey in the background. I probably wouldn't get copyright struck. It looks like someone saved the Naruto images from trade cards online already. I can't link it. It's on the Stream Workshop for Tabletop Simulator. So many games and you only played 3 of them? Okay, hold on a second here. I've played all of them, but I've only beaten 3 of them. Valid. During your opponent's mission phase, you can discard this ninja to skip the battle phase of the turn. Interesting. I don't remember this card ever being used. Also, okay, so somebody already saved all of the Naruto images, which is interesting, but do they have a place where I can download them all? Is the question. Because if somebody's already gone through and done this, and I can save the images, then that's totally cool. But just to make sure, until I get confirmation that something like that exists, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to continue what I'm doing here. But thank you for the heads up. I'm probably not going to get through every single set today because at some point I'm going to have to eat and get ready for class. In fact, I'm probably only going to go for maybe half an hour or so more. But yeah, I'll definitely check it out after the stream. Breath of the Wild? Yeah, I've beaten Breath of the Wild. Although I haven't touched any of the DLCs, so I'll have to look into that. But Breath of the Wild, I actually ended up beating on my Wii U. Yeah, that's it. I beat it on my Wii U. The only reason I even have Breath of the Wild for the Switch is because somebody offered me a free copy of Breath of the Wild when I bought my Switch. So went ahead and took it. You know what I'm saying? I could probably Google Drive them. You would need to buy Tabletop Simulator or Steam to access it yourself. Oh no, no thanks. I think I'm good on buying Tabletop Simulator. I think the problem is, okay, even though I would love to transition to using Tabletop Simulator for a lot of the games I play, because they've already got some games that I love on it, like Kingdom Death Monster and Crossmaster, I would love to transition over to it, but the problem is there is no way any of my fans are actually going to pay money for these things, so I wouldn't actually have anybody to play with. And that's what stops me from wanting to pay for them, but no worries, I'll look into it. And if somebody's already got these images out somewhere, like I said before, I'd be more than happy to save them, but we'll just have to see. What is with all the police sirens today? Jesus. They must have found the bodies. It's a joke, by the way, before anybody calls before anybody calls a a hit squad on me or something. SWAT team, there it is. SWAT team is what I was looking for. Research into Forbidden Jutsu. Man, I remember this card. I loved this card. It returned all of your jutsu back to the deck, so I used it in my bounty hunter deck to just really quickly burn through all of my shurikens and kunai, and then they would all just go straight back into the deck. Did you put them in a happy face on a map? Nah, that's boring. I uh, I wrote I wrote a code on each of them, and in order to decode the code, you have to subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch the streams. I know you guys are probably really shocked, but there's actually hidden messages hidden in all of my streams, and the only way to figure out where the bodies are located, you have to go into the streams, rewatch them, and decipher the codes. And click on all of the ads. If you don't click on the ads, the special messages won't appear. uh, Wait, was this really the set that Shino came out in too? Oh no, this isn't the Shino I thought. There's another Shino that was a really big staple for a while, but I guess that wasn't it. I knew it didn't come out this early. I knew it had to have been a later card. The bodies hit the floor. Yep. The bodies hit the floor. Man, this is set we got the nine-tailed fox spirit in too. Such a legendary set. No other set in the entire game gave us as many good cards as R&R did. Even though I know a lot of people hate this set because of how boring the actual metagame was. But we will talk about all of that when I actually start making my videos again. Dream Legacy. Dream Legacy is the first set that I started taking seriously enough to start going to tournaments. So this set actually holds a lot of sentimental value to me because this is the first time that I actually started getting my collection together and going to tournaments and playing. Gosh darn it. I keep overshooting. Okay. Oh, whoops. I didn't actually switch this over. Gosh darn it. I remember so many of these cards. It's so surreal to go back and look at a lot of these cards because I probably got like 10 copies of every one of these cards that I'm looking at right now. If you could, would you play Soul Calibur 6? Yeah, of course. I love Soul Calibur. I think Soul Calibur is great. I've been playing ever since Soul Calibur 2. In fact, I own every single Soul Calibur except for number 6 because I ended up getting a copy of Soul Calibur for the Dreamcast, and I still think I have it in my collection somewhere. And then I have Soul Calibur 2 on the GameCube, Soul Calibur 3 on the PS2, Soul Calibur 4 for the PS3, and then Soul Calibur 5 also for the PS3. Plus, I've been seeing people's character creations, and man, they really outdid themselves with the character creator this time. Can we take a second to appreciate Gontetsu? Nobody likes this card except for me, but I want you guys to hear me out on this, okay? Listen to this effect. When this ninja is sent out to battle and opposed, your opponent moves one of the cards in their hands to the top of the deck. And then when this ninja's team is defeated or completely defeated, your opponent draws two cards, okay? I know that downside is really bad, but if you play this card correctly in a set with like Naruto, I'm sorry, Sasuke number one rookie or something, where your opponent has to block, I think this card is actually pretty busted because it makes it so your opponent's hand size never increases. If they have two cards in their hands, then they have to put one on top of their deck. At the beginning of the turn, they draw one. They never get to draw a new card. They just keep drawing into the same old cards over and over again. I think it's a really cool card, but nobody else really liked it, so it never really went anywhere. No one really tried to build a deck around it or anything. Oh man, Itachi Uchiha, true heir to the Sharingan. This was our very first Itachi Uchiha card released, man, and it is a good-looking card. Like, I ain't gay, but I'm just saying, Itachi looking like a snack, and I'm hungry. Wait, did I even save it? Yeah, I did. That would have been bad, because that is definitely a card that I need to talk about. You had a crush on him, Chris? Me too, sister. Me too. I think everybody had a crush on Itachi. In fact, even if you were a guy and you lied about it, your junk wiggled a little bit at the thought of Itachi. Reminds you of Chidori in Yu-Gi-Oh! Put the top card of your opponent's deck and draw a face so they draw the same card. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is like Yada. It's just like Yada Garasu back in the day. When I found out he was a good guy. Oh, snap. No, I think he was more popular when he was a bad guy, because, you can't resist that bad boy charm. That's all I'm saying. Manda. Oh, my heart. This card, man. Manda was my baby back in the day because we all used to have like little deck ideas that we used to run. It was almost like living in a real world Yu-Gi-Oh, where all of us did have our own archetypes, and my archetype was snakes. So I played Orochimaru and Manda and Giant Snake and Summoning Jutsu. Man, I used to freaking love this card back in the day. But anyways, that's enough reminiscing, I suppose. I do, they just mean don't like any evil ones. Uh, it's so funny to hear something like that, thinking back to the to just how popular evil characters are in the otaku girl community. Snake cute. Manda is a pretty cute little boy. It's a shame he's dead now. Spoiler alert. Well, you'll be outside then? Okay, fair enough. Save the bad boys for someone else. I getcha. Mm, man, I remember. Uh, People really undervalued Tsunade back in the day. Like, I remember everybody was going after Itachi and Orochimaru, but nobody ever really paid attention to the Tsunade cards, and I think the Tsunade cards from back then were pretty good. Every time your opponent flips a Ninja Blade coin, um, the first result is always considered to be heads. This actually wasn't that bad of a downside back in the day because it was very rare that anybody would be running some kind of deck that revolved around flipping coins in the competitive scene. And she was an 8-1, and then on top of that, there was this Tsunade here, and this was the actual good one. Like, you would never run the other one. It was really pointless. The only advantage the other one had was when it's injured, it has one more combat. Woohoo. But this ninja gets +1 during the turns put in play, and then while you have two or more injured ninjas in play, this ninja gets -2. If you manage this correctly, this was a 9-0 all the time. No, sorry, it was a 9-0 and then went down to being an 8-0 all the time. So Sanade was pretty good. She definitely wasn't as bad as people made her out to be. And then this Tsunade and she's in a Debts card. When this is put in play, you draw two cards, and then at the end of the same turn, you put two cards to the bottom of your deck. A really good hand cycling card. And if you just didn't have any cards in your hands when this effect went off, then you didn't have to do anything. There was no downside. Alright, and that is another set down. Let's see if we can get through one more, and then I'll call it a day for today. Oh, snap. We're hitting set 6 with the legendary Formation Inoshikacho. This was the very first set released where Shikamaru started becoming a real problem for the game. Like, from this point onwards, Shikamaru is just the best ninja. Hands down. There's nobody who gets used as much as him. There's nobody who has as much impact as him. Have you ever tried Dungeons and Dragons? Bruh, who do you think you're talking to? Of course I've tried Dungeons and Dragons. I love Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons is where I discovered my love of rogue characters, actually. Instead of taking my opponent's head on, I liked sneaking around, stealing all of their stuff, killing them before they could even see me. It's good times, man. It's good times. Hmm. Favorite race and class? My favorite race? Half elves. Because I think aesthetically they look really cool, and they got some kind of bonus. I don't remember what the bonus was, but I remember always picking a half elf, and then rogue was my favorite class. Although we did some pretty fun stuff with the class system. So one of the classes that I played, since we're playing around with some Naruto cards here, I actually found a puppet master class and decided to build a Sasori-like character for Dungeons and Dragons. And his entire thing was he didn't have any emotions because he was traumatized as a kid, and he used to make action figures. Like his dad was a toy creator, and his dad would make him toys based on like legendary heroes from like storybooks and stuff, right? So then when his dad dies, he's still a kid and he goes out to find the bodies of the legendary heroes that his dad used to make toys of and turn them into like actual living toys uh, to be puppets. And it was pretty fun. And then there was another campaign we had called the I can't remember. I think we just called it the Evil Campaign, and it was interesting. So we found a class called the Heavy Weapons Master, where he could wield a weapon one class higher than he was supposed to, and he essentially just specialized in using really big weapons. So we made a Heavy Weapons Master. And then on top of that, we gave him monkey grip to wield an even higher class of weapon, and we kept pumping everything into his strength. So it, okay, imagine this. Imagine somebody who could put a stick on the side of your house and then wield your house as a weapon. That's the kind of character we made. His name was Kills Dudes, and his entire shtick is that he was extremely homophobic, but he also had a lot of really homoerotic tendencies. So like I put a bunch of stats into making him good at like knitting and sewing and cooking, and he was always really paranoid that every guy we ran into was secretly hitting on him, and he would lash out. And his sword was shaped like a ooh. Let me see if I can recreate this sword in paint here. It's not going to be great because I'm using paint, but I'm going to see if I can recreate this sword. All right, so here's the handle down here, and then there was a hand guard, right? A hand guard that came out like this. So here was the handle, and these were the hand guard, and then it came up like this, and then of course the end of the sword had to be extra wide to penetrate the enemy. So the head of the sword ended up coming up like this. Yeah, this is a this was the sword that I used on kills dudes. And I came up with all these practical applications for it. The hand guards would keep my hands from getting hit, and they were also useful as a shield if I ever needed to block. And then this here, it could catch other swords, which is why the shape here was so useful. And essentially, like the entire joke behind the character was there was just all of this gay stuff about him, but he always found like a really practical way to defend it, and then hated on other characters and called them gay. It was really funny. Keep in mind this was about 10 or so years ago, where when it was a little more acceptable to to make fun of gay tendencies. Like if I were to make fun of like a character for their gay tendencies nowadays, I would probably be hated by pretty much everybody online. But it was just a different time back then, and trust me when I say that it was a lot um, it was a lot more tolerable than it probably sounds on its surface. Like there was no hate in it whatsoever. It was just really funny. Shape was useful. I'm telling you, dude. It had to be shaped that way. It was the perfect warrior's weapon. This Neji card right here brings back a lot of really painful memories for me. This is the first time that I was ever scammed on eBay. I went on eBay and I found a copy of this card for $10. And I don't know what it was, but I just thought it was a really cool card. And I guess I had an idea for a deck that I wanted to build. So I ended up buying a copy of this card for $10 and it never showed up. And I was like 14 or something at the time, so I really didn't know what to do about it. So I ended up just getting scammed. Like, what else was I supposed to do? Like, obviously, if something like that happened to me now, I would know that I could go and demand a refund and have the it tracked and all of this other stuff. But back then, you just didn't know any of that stuff. My stepfather played the first edition and still has the first edition book, but I want to try the fifth edition. Um, I haven't actually played much 5th edition. I played a little bit. It seems fine, honestly. But here's my thing. I'm gonna sound like a weirdo for this, and I completely acknowledge if you don't agree with what I'm about to say, but 4th edition is actually my favorite way to play um, Dungeons and Dragons. So, for those who don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons, let me explain here. So, there's first edition, which is when Dungeons and Dragons first came out as an idea, and they published a book about it. Second edition came out, and it fixed a lot of the stuff from first Dungeons and Dragons. It added a lot of new races and classes, and it was pretty good times. Third edition comes out, and third edition is the most popular version of the game. So if you ever go play Dungeons and Dragons somewhere, chances are you're either playing third edition, which is again the most popular version of the game. It had the best customization. It had the most depth that a lot of people say. And then there's 3.5, which is also possible to be played because it's essentially exactly the same as third edition, but 3.5 went back and fixed a lot of the stats and errors and made a lot more stuff viable. But my problem with third edition is it's very easy to break. Essentially, third edition is for people who want to measure their EPs against other nerds. So, like, somebody will come out and be like, "Wow, I just found this crazy new combo where I can actually deal like 8d6 worth of damage in one turn." And then somebody else will come out and be 8d6? Oh yeah? Well, my character can do that. And another attack that can deal 9d6 of damage. And I have higher stats than you. and my race gives me a special ability that makes me better than you in every conceivable way. And then another person will hop in and say, oh, yeah? Well, my character can do everything your character can do, on top of also having an elemental resistance that allows me to fight black dragons without taking as much. It's a chaos. It's a chaotic mess. It's just people competing to be the best, even though they're supposed to be a team, and I really don't like that element of the game. I hate when there's a system like that can just be broken beyond repair, and everybody starts to want to be the coolest, strongest person in the group, so they just look for ways to break the game rather than actually role playing and having fun. Hate it. But it is still the most popular version of the game, so it's the one that everybody likes the most. Fourth edition came out and it added skills. And a lot of people hated it because a lot of people said it was too much like an MMO, where you actually had stuff that had cooldowns, like you had abilities that could only be used a certain number of times a day or per round. But here's my defense. I really like the fourth edition system better because it makes you put some thought into how your character is actually attacking an enemy. When you're playing third edition and below, it's essentially just move, attack, and that's it. And then maybe you get some special abilities like cleave or whatever. And then, of course, if you're like a mage or whatever, then that's really the only time that you can be creative. But with 4th edition, you actually have different styles of attacks that you can employ depending on what you need. Some attacks deal less damage, but they're a lot harder to defend against. So if you need to finish an enemy off, you have a skill specifically for finishing them off that'll give you a higher hit rate. Or if you don't need a higher hit rate, maybe you have an attack that poisons an enemy and it's really useful against bosses. If you're backed into a corner, you have to ask yourself, do I want to use my once per day ability to get me out of this situation, or can I find another way out of it? Um, it's just so much more thinking that goes into 4th edition that I think 4th edition is still my favorite way to play of all time. Other people hate it, I know, but I really, really like 4th edition. It's definitely the best version of Dungeons and Dragons for me personally. Back when I was a DM, I used to run 4th edition games all the time. And then there's actually another game that's like Dungeons and Dragons called World of Darkness. World of Darkness is a really fun system because it's meant to be like a modern day game where, uh, what would be a good comparison? Maybe I almost wanted to say supernatural, but no. So eventually, sorry, not eventually. Essentially, it's a game that involved like monsters and other dimensions. So you had werewolves and vampires incorporated into the game, and you had like spirits and like all kinds of modern day horror stuff was incorporated into it. And I actually took that system and made my own game called the Detective Campaign, where everybody would get together and I would give everybody a murder to solve. And your character sheet would define like what kind of detective you were and what kind of skill sets you had in figuring out a crime. So essentially, it would be Dungeons and Dragons, but around solving murder mysteries instead of fighting monsters. It was really cool. I think I still have the sheet somewhere for it now that I think about it. I'll have to go find it. It was a good time. Also, Eric, I think I missed you, but thank you for stopping by. And Eric actually found a really good time to leave because I think I'm going to go ahead and cut it here for right now. Maybe I'll come back and keep doing this throughout the week, but for today, I think that's going to be it. Thank you everybody for stopping by. If you want to come to any more of these and you have an idea for what we can maybe do in the background, like maybe for some YouTube videos to watch, just let me know and we'll see if we can work something out. Uh, just something to make this a bit more entertaining for you guys while I'm doing this. And yeah, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, the Discord or Facebook are the two best ways to reach me. If not, an email is always fine. And I guess I will catch you